Really matching the matcha today. Hitting the spot. Alright, so today for Foundation Friday, I thought we would keep it casual. I've got my iced matcha here, which apparently wasn't very well mixed. Didn't see that. I even used like a little electric whisker thing. Looks a little chunky, but this is one of my better matcha lattes, if I say so myself. But I just felt like hanging out today, chatting, doing some base makeup. I'm going to be answering your questions from Instagram. I just wanted to kind of retry some products on camera instead of trying new stuff. Foundation, concealer, primer, setting spray. The whole deal. That's basically it. So grab your beverage of choice, a little cocktail, whatever you're feeling, and we can either do our makeup together or you can just hang out and we can chat. So if you enjoy this video while you're watching, you can give it a thumbs up. It does help out my channel anytime you do that, so I appreciate it. I'm gonna have all the products I used on my face today listed down below in the description box, but let's get into it and check out some of the questions. Okay, first question. Do you ever think about coming out with your own line of cosmetics? No. So makeup, I've always said this, but I've never wanted my own cosmetics or makeup line. It just doesn't interest me. I think especially now, the market's just so oversaturated and there's so many brands coming out with so many products all the time. And it's just not something that has ever really been of interest to me, coming out with my own makeup line, which I know is like, you know, not the typical kind of thing. I feel like most people who do makeup on YouTube kind of want their own line, I think, or that's what it seems like. But I don't know, I've just never been really interested in that path. But with that said, I definitely have other ideas for having my own brand at some point, but it would not be makeup or cosmetics or in that kind of space at all. I'm retesting the Farsali Rose Gold Elixir. This smells so chemically, but I tried this in a first impressions video and I did like it, so I wanted to retry it today. But the thing I like about this is when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way that's going to sit well under foundation, but it weirdly absorbs into the skin well. What's your favorite spot to go and eat in Seattle? Ooh, I have so many favorite Seattle restaurants. If you want food recommendations for Seattle, check out my Seattle Foodscapades Instagram. One of my all-time favorite restaurants is Ricolto in West Seattle. Their Strozzapreti is unreal. It's definitely one of my favorite pastas I've ever tried, like in any city. So that kind of like first comes to mind, but yeah, check out my Instagram. I have tons of food recommendations over on there. So I was kind of debating if I wanted to retry a foundation I've recently reviewed or just whip one out of the collection, and I just want to use the Urban Decay Stay Naked. This is in 20NN. It's one of my favorite foundations. It's super long lasting. It just wears amazing. It is kind of one of those more finicky foundations, so I'm curious to see how it's going to wear over top of that oil. I also wanted to do this video because I thought typically when I do my Foundation Fridays, I'll test them again like in my own time and then do an update video when I have my formed thoughts after I've like tried them in different ways. But what we could do is more videos like this where I just like chill and chat or answer your questions while I'm retrying those foundations in different ways so that you can actually like see the process of it too. So let me know if you guys would want to see that. I think I'm in the brush mood today. I'm going to retry the BH Cosmetics number 3. Already this is gliding on so much easier with that oil underneath. I like this foundation on its own too. It definitely has a different feel to it going over that Farsali. Ooh, that looks really nice on top of that Farsali. I mean, it definitely looks way glowier than usual. It's a pretty satin matte foundation on its own. How do you deal with negativity? So I'm assuming she means just obviously with YouTube, like just being online. I would say that it's definitely changed over the years. It does change as your channel kind of adapts and grows, just obviously because you're getting more negativity as that happens. I would say like 99% of the time when I get a bad comment or read something bad or whatever, you know, I've been doing this for so many years that I do just brush it off. But there's some comments, especially with just certain topics that like personally really get to me, that can really affect you and almost kind of like ruin your day. Like I've definitely had, you know, days where I was having a great day and then read something kind of turns your day around. So basically how I deal with it is I try not to read it. And I just try and continue on and do what I feel is best and what I want to do with my channel. I think something that my mom always tries to remind me and that I always try and remind myself too is that even if it seems like there's 20 comments about like people agreeing with someone, that's 20 people out of 80,000 or 100,000 people who saw that video. So in the grand scheme of things, that's really a small amount. And also a lot of times people take something from a snippet of something you said or a snippet of something they saw without knowing the full story or without knowing your full opinion on it and kind of just run with assumptions. At the end of the day, no one likes everyone. We all have people that we just don't get along with or don't care for one reason or another, and that's okay. That's how the world works. So I also just try and keep that in mind too. And if I am having a bad day, I usually call my mom, call my boyfriend, and just talk about it and cry a little bit, get a good cry sesh out, and then try and move on with the day, you know? My mom always says, this is a great job, but with every job, there are, you know, good things and bad things, and that's just one of the bad things. The things I love about YouTube way outweigh those kind of days that you have to deal with, so I'm very fortunate that that's the case. I'm just taking my Haley's Beauty sponge and kind of smoothing over my forehead a little bit. The Urban Decay does really well if you use it almost as like a topper foundation. I've talked about this, but if you want your foundation to stay on really well, if you take like the tiniest amount, either like what I'm doing right now with the sponge on top of what I already put on or on top of another foundation that you're wearing, it just gives like the best finish and it holds up amazing. All right, I feel like we just spent too long on that question. Still planning the big move out east. So in my past Q&A, keep almost knocking down this drink. In a recent Q&A, I'll link it in the eye and down below, I talked about my plans for just short-term moving to New York. I was going to move before Corona for about 4 months to New York and just kind of like do my own thing, rent out a fully furnished apartment stuff, and then we're going to move somewhere after that. But with the old Rona, obviously everyone's plans are on hold, and no, I'm not really planning anything right now. I'm kind of just seeing where everything goes and then going from there. I've definitely like tried to think up things that I can do right now because I feel like I'm like one of those people where if I'm not like traveling and if I'm not constantly doing stuff, I feel like I'm like wasting time. So I've just been trying to plan a lot of local, socially distanced Washington kind of trips. Like we have a bunch of camping trips and cabin trips and stuff coming up. So just doing those kinds of things to like take my mind off of having the moving itch. I definitely still have the moving itch. Love Seattle. It's not about Seattle. I just want to live in other places too. So no, all of those plans have been put on hold and I'm, you know, kind of just waiting like everyone else to see what happens. I'm going to use the Revolution XX concealer, which the smell is so wild. It is so intense. And I talked about this in my worst packaging video because it does that. I don't think I would want to do a big move right now. I know a lot of people are actually like moving out of cities, which makes sense. Like, you know, if you don't want to pay high rent in a city when you're not really getting any of the benefits of living in a city, like being able to go, you know, and do things really easy and just having a lot going on and stuff like that. So it totally makes sense. Anna asked, how long have you and Rachel been friends? How did you meet? So for those of you who don't know, Rachel's my best friend. She's been in videos here and there over the years. Actually, I think we still have like a vlog when I was in college together. But Rachel and I met in college. We were random roommates freshman year of college, which is obviously super lucky that we totally hit it off and became best friends and are still friends how many years later? When was freshman year? Do I want to think about this? This is going to make me feel some type of way. No, that can't be right. 10 years ago. Freshman year of college was 10 years ago. I'm texting Rach right now. I feel like it was extra meant to be for Rach and I to be friends because I actually got put in a different dorm and then ended up switching like before college even started. And Rach's roommate like last minute dropped out or something. And so we got put together. And I just really can't imagine what my college experience would have been like without Rach in it. And obviously she's still my best friend to this day. So I just feel so lucky to have Rach in my life. So I'm going in with the CoverGirl powder. So I tried this in a first impressions video. Actually, in between that video going up and me filming this, I tried this powder about 10 times so far for my face. Not as much for my under eyes. I think this is my second or third time trying it on my under eyes. As a face powder, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh in the shade 120 is what I am. It is so pretty. It's so fine. Like it's so lightweight. It doesn't feel or look like a heavy powder at all. And it blurs a little bit. And it looks beautiful for a powder. Not a lot of powders work on my skin. So if you also have that issue, ooh, it's a good one. I am going to powder everywhere today because I kind of just want to see. This is just to test everything, you know? So I want to see what this powder looks like over the Urban Decay, like all over my face. There are a lot of questions about if I'm planning on fostering more dogs or adopting in the future. And I've actually been actively, like every single day, I've been refreshing the foster page. I really want a foster dog right now. I'm like here, you know, in Seattle for a bit now and I can, so I really want to get another one. But they've been going so quickly, which is amazing, obviously. That's the best situation for them to be in, to have too many people to foster. But I think just with everyone being home and stuff, more people must be able to foster and trying to. So it's been hard to actually get a foster dog. But hopefully by the time this video goes up, I'll have one, maybe. If I will, you'll see it in the vlog or on, you know, my Instagram stories or whatever. But yeah, I'm ready for another foster. And there are other organizations I've looked into, and I'm going to submit applications for a few others in Seattle. I've always worked with Seattle Humane, or, you know, volunteered through them. Okay, I definitely think that once I put on setting spray, the powder is going to like fuse together with that foundation nicely. But I'm going to do brows first. I've been loving the Urban Decay Brow Blade, but for some reason it turns out so much better when I'm like not thinking about it and the mirror's like far away. So I'm just gonna kind of like do it messy and hope it turns out okay. How do you talk about finances with your partner? P.S. I love your videos. Burrito emoji. Thank you. Thanks for watching. We actually first talked about finances because we were watching Married at First Sight. I've talked about this before, but Married at First Sight is just like a good way to bring up those kind of conversations because they have therapists on there and they make those couples on the show talk about stuff. So it definitely probably wouldn't have come up as soon as it did if we hadn't been watching that. It's super important. I mean, if you're gonna be, you know, thinking about spending long term with someone, or even not, just like day to day, like who pays for dinner, who pays for groceries, whatever it is, those are important things. Like, how do people spend their money? What do they want to prioritize their money on? Do they save their money? Are they in debt? How much credit card or university debt do they have? Because if you are a team, then those things are going to be affecting you, and also your credit score. And most people aren't raised in the exact same way with finances and saving and, you know, all those things, investing, whatever. So it is really important to talk about. There are a few about investing, tips or resources for money / investment, house smarts. I want to be a boss babe burrito. I'm going to say if you want tips on saving and, you know, being able to have money to invest, check out Patricia Bright's video. I'm going to link it down below. I've mentioned that video before, but I think it's just a really good one on how exactly to budget if you're new to it and want to start saving and want to start investing. But I would say do your own research. Like, there's things literally yesterday that I was figuring out that I want to do. And so I just spent like 3 hours researching exactly how to go about doing that. Things don't just happen. You got to put in the work and figure out how to do them. And I would say try not to get caught up on the small steps. Like, don't overthink it to the point where you're thinking 20 steps in the future and then wondering how like all of that's gonna fall into place. Just take it one step at a time. If you're thinking about starting your own business, you know, look up your requirements for the state, form your LLC, do all that kind of stuff, and then just go from there. Take it step by step. Everyone has to go through those steps when they start something of learning and failing and trying and retrying and figuring it all out. So it's never usually like an easy thing that just happens. Whoa, that one got a little intense. And then I would just say, if you want to start investing, living within your means. Don't buy a house that's way too expensive so you have a super high mortgage. If you want to invest in other real estate and have rental income coming in, and just making sure that your everyday decisions and actions are in line with your long-term financial goals. And it just depends. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't want to buy a house. Maybe you don't want to invest, and that's totally fine. Everyone has different financial goals and everything. What is one of your biggest insecurities? That's a question I don't think I've ever talked about, but I would say my biggest insecurity is being shy and like super introverted with people I don't know, because I'm like a totally different person in a big group of people, especially if it's a group of people that I don't know at all, than I am with like my close friends. And it takes me a long time to actually warm up to people and feel comfortable around people. So I think that's probably my biggest insecurity, because I know I can come off kind of like bitchy or cold or whatever at first, but it's just because I'm not super extroverted and it takes me a long time to actually feel comfortable with people. CBD Rex. Okay, so I've talked about a few brands in the past. I still like hemp bombs. This is not sponsored at all by either of these I'm going to mention, but I recently found a website. I'm going to link it down below because I can't remember the exact name now, but it is so cool. You basically type in any kind of supplement, CBD, anything, and it's a site that basically rates all of the ingredients, how safe, how effective it is. So I went through basically all of my supplements and CBD and everything I take, like natural stuff, and reordered pretty much everything. So I've been trying these ones for a couple weeks now, different CBD. This is a CBD MD. These got amazing reviews. And so far I really like the freeze. I got the 750 freeze, so you just roll it on. And then this is the oil. I got 1500 to start because these are really expensive. CBD is freaking expensive. I wonder how long it's going to be until insurance covers it. But they do make up to, I think, 6,000. The taste of this one is really good too. It almost tastes like mint vanilla to me. So I've been liking these two. I use them every day, like multiple times a day. I got a few questions about acne and if I get nervous now, if I get a breakout, or just if my skin's changed since Accutane and all that. This is the first time I'm like full on breaking out, and I'm hoping it's just from the mask. I kind of talk more about it in a vlog coming up, I think next week, but I'm kind of debating if I should go to the dermatologist again and maybe get on something mild like spironolactone or something, but I've just been having these and they like haven't really been going away. But yeah, this is the first time that I've been like actually breaking out since after Accutane, so that's fun. Tips for maintaining your individual goals while in a serious relationship. Obviously, compromise is super important, so if it's something that affects both of you, like moving or taking a new job or something like that, obviously there's going to be some give and take there. But as far as your individual goals and things that you can still do, I 100% think that you should try to not lose sight of that because you're in a relationship. It's really important for me personally to be in a relationship with someone who supports my goals and I support theirs. I would never want to be the thing stopping someone from doing something that they really want to do. My boyfriend's really career oriented too, so we both kind of understand each other in that way and don't get like personally offended if, you know, we don't see each other for a couple days because we're working on something or whatever it is. I think just communicating your goals, so the other person is aware what you want to do, and then they can help you do that. Do you play any instruments? I can play the piano. I took piano lessons for like 8 years growing up. I think that was one of the biggest things my parents and I used to argue about, was practicing piano. I want to retry the CoverGirl True Blend bronzer with that same Youngblood brush. I've only tried it with this brush so far, and these kind of like big brushes tend to diffuse the color a little bit, so even if it is too orangey, it's wearable with a brush like this. Would you ever bring back the lip ring or any others? The lip ring, definite no. That was, you know, a phase in my life and I'm glad I did it. But looking back, nope, definitely don't feel the urge to have a lip ring again. But I definitely want to get my nose re-pierced. My nose closed up when I had to get the sinus surgery, and that's the only reason why I don't have my nose pierced still. And then, you know, Corona happened, so I'm obviously not going to go get pierced right now. How long have you been with your significant other? We've been together 2 years and 3 months. Oh, I like this question. Okay, they said, what's your favorite memory from your time on YouTube? So many things, but I think my favorite, and it was kind of like the most recent thing in my memory, was the Pittsburgh meetup. I don't know, for some reason, Pittsburgh, I just didn't think there were going to be that many people there. Pittsburgh, not only the amount of people, but just the people that I met were so kind and warm, and it was just like such, I could cry thinking about it. I'm literally gonna why am I like this? It was the meetup with Project Beauty Share, and my boyfriend was also there, so it was just really special for him to kind of like see that side of what I do. And whenever I do a meetup, it just makes everything very real, and just like hearing your stories and everything. Those are like the kinds of things where if I am having a bad YouTube day, I think about that, and then it's like, who cares? That's why I love to do this. I'm gonna try this number 7 blush. This is in the shade Peach Velvet. Ooh, I like the name. Try that same beige brush again. Oh wait, I don't think that video's up. No, that video's not up. I have a BH Cosmetics one brand tutorial coming. So that foundation brush I was talking about earlier, we tried that in the video. This, we tried that in there. Okay, well, just spoiled that one. Guess it doesn't matter. Do you ever start to remember and recognize your followers / subscribers? 100%. I have a really like visual memory. I don't usually remember people's names, but I remember the faces of every person, not at like a meetup, but every person that I've ran into. Like if I ran into them at a restaurant or something, like I 100% remember your face, and if I saw you again, I would for sure remember. But also I recognize like your handles and stuff and your photos. Just don't change your photo on me. Other frequently asked question was about my boyfriend being on my channel just in general, or like showing him more. So this one is, does your boyfriend ever show more interest in being involved in your channel? So it's actually not that. He is totally open to being on my channel. He doesn't like, you know, he's not like dying to be, but he would in a heartbeat if I wanted him to. It's just more about keeping some parts of my life private, and especially things that I, you know, obviously really cherish. But I've thought about it more. I just kind of like weigh the pros and cons, and I just feel like when I'm ready to have him on my channel, I'll just feel ready, and I don't feel that yet. And it's not about like our relationship. It's more just about, I don't know, I just really cherish having some parts of my life private, and like maybe I'll, you know, show him more on Instagram or show his face or whatever, but maybe I'll change my mind, decide to have him on my channel in a couple months. I don't know. I'm just kind of like seeing how I feel, but he is in like parts of vlogs and stuff. Favorite woman on Selling Sunset? It wasn't Mary before season 3, but now I have to say Mary. Just seems like a good friend to have around. She's very loyal and she just seems nice. Any odd pet peeves? I cannot stand cold butter, like straight out of the fridge. If you're trying to like butter toast and the butter is rock hard, can't stand it. So I get like either the whipped butter or I get Smart Balance, like the margarine that's easier to spread. What highlight am I using is the question. Let's use Jouer because this is actually back in stock. That was such weird timing, dude. My video on the best high-end highlighters, and I also did a drugstore one, went up, and then I think it was like the next day or something, Jouer announced they were coming back with this. I mentioned this in that video. So it is back in stock now. It is so intense but beautiful. Weird timing though. I do think the Farsali is still coming through a little bit, but overall it looks pretty matte with the powder and that foundation on now, but we're gonna set it up in a second. But first I'm gonna do just some like real basic eyeshadow. I'm gonna use the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts. I haven't tried this yet, so I'm not gonna talk through what I'm doing, but I'm just using like a combo of these shades. Do you save for retirement considering YouTube isn't a normal job? Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this question. It's probably more than this person even wants to know, but I feel like one of kind of the misconceptions with YouTube or just ideas surrounding YouTube is that it's like this temporary thing and it's not a stable job. But the reality is, and I think the pandemic has kind of shown that no job is guaranteed. You know what I mean? You could have a full-time job with an employer and unfortunately be laid off. You just never know. Nothing is guaranteed. So I just think if you can, everyone should be saving and everyone should be trying to have kind of like a backup plan or just be saving at least for retirement, like 100%. And it's never too early to start. I started putting money in my savings account when I was like 12 or 13. My dad and I remember going to Bank of America and setting up a savings account. And I am big on saving, big on putting money into retirement. I max out the amount that I'm able to put into my 4K and I do an employer match every single year. But I don't know, one could argue that being self-employed isn't as risky as a lot of people make it seem. You're kind of more in control of the amount of money you make and, you know, what you're able to put aside. If you have a business, you can always try and scale it and grow it. And so instead of having kind of like a steady income where you're kind of capped at the amount that you're able to put away. I've had both. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I think there's pros and cons of both for sure. Everyone should be putting away for retirement if you can. And if you can, find a job that puts money into a 401k, that is ideal. And if you're self-employed, definitely talk to your accountant about matching the amount with your LLC. Wow, I'm spending way too much time on this one eyeshadow. The other thing is, even if you do have a quote unquote normal job with an employer, you can always try and diversify your income, and you should, no matter what your job situation is, so that you aren't depending on just one thing for 100% of your income. So I don't get 100% of my revenue just for making YouTube videos. What are your favorite videos to film? I love your vlogs. Thank you. I would say my vlogs are probably my favorite videos to film, or videos like this where I can just like chill and talk, like Shadow and Schmooze videos or those kind of videos. But I think vlogs are probably my favorite to film and edit. What's your favorite kind of exercise? I wouldn't say favorite, but I would say the only one I do pretty much, besides some leg workouts here and there, is walking. Do you ever find yourself getting bored with beauty YouTube? So I'm not sure if she means as a viewer or as a creator, but I would say kind of yes to both. Not bored with like what I do, but just it is like I'm constantly trying to think of something new that can be done. I think people now, myself included, are just so much more interested in more like lifestyle content. And for vlogs, for example, like my vlogs have been getting the same amount of views as my videos, my beauty videos lately. And I think it's just because, you know, there's only so much you can purchase and so much you can talk about with makeup. And I love reviewing makeup. It's still one of my favorite things ever, and I will probably always do it as long as I'm on YouTube. However, I have so many different interests and things I like talking about. So doing videos like these or doing vlogs or doing other kind of content besides makeup content, I do find myself more interested in personally watching like on other people's channels. So yeah, I think things have definitely evolved, especially in the last like maybe year or two. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think it is. Like, why do you think it's just oversaturated now? What do you think it is? Or do you still love just like regular makeup tutorials and things like that? So far, these are very nice. Okay, so I just wrapped up the rest of my makeup. I put on this liner on my waterline, which is Aqua Resist in Sienna. I feel like I can't tell if it looks cool copper or if it looks like I have pink eye. For lips, I really like this combo. I used Almar Dolce liner, and then I put this white, it's literally a white Bite Beauty lipstick. I love this for changing, lightening up any kind of lipstick. And then I love this Lorac gloss. It's out of the office. Just layered my mascaras, Essence Lash Princess with Revlon So Fierce, and then put this on the lower lash line. I realized I forgot to do setting spray before I put on my mascara, so I'm gonna make sure this is dry for 1 more minute and then we'll spray some of that on. But I am so in love with the Collab Grand Finale 3-in-1 setting mist. I feel like it does make my makeup stay on a little bit longer, but it also just has the most fine, nice mist ever. Whew, just took a thumbnail. Oh my god. It is a heavenly experience. I think you can even hear how fine that is. I love it too because it's not overly dewy. It really reminds me of the Hourglass setting spray, but just gives that really pretty finish without being overboard glowy. But I think that's it for today's Foundation Friday. If I didn't get around to your question, let me know if you guys would want to see this again. And like I said, we can do it with other foundations I'm currently testing for the update videos or something. Or if you have any other ideas, let me know down below. I'll have everything I used on my face today listed down below in the description box. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.